Hello everyone and thank you for joining me. For my Scribble today I will be using the Jinhao 9056, also called Inheritance based on what I see on the cap. I have two of them, or better said I had two of them for a while now, and what I have are pretty much the original version, which have the exterior covered in wood, no metal caps. I have the lighter and darker versions. I don't know what wood type is that, and for today I will be using the darker one. I have used the lighter version the most and wanted to give this one some love as well today. It's a fairly simple and well built and finished fountain pen. This, from my perspective, was definitely a win for Jinhao. A cap that unscrews and posts pretty decent, and that has one of my favorite type of clips on it, a rocking clip-on as I like to call it, and this time, compared with other unfortunate tries from them, this one actually works as intended. The cap makes the fountain pen a little bit top heavy when posted because there is some brass inserts inside of it, but for my hand I don't find it that bad. So I do like to use it posted when I draw. One of the reasons why I was not interested in the newer versions with a metal cap. That will make it even more top heavy from my perspective. Behind the cap we find a fairly comfortable, simple and stubby section that has attached to it a number 6 Jinhao nib, and from my experience it's a pretty darn decent nib. And as usual from Jinhao the converter is included and is a pretty good one too. I like the brass accent that he has in the metal band. Let's ink it up and do a quick writing test before diving into a scribble. Since today I am planning to use the same paper like last week for my scribble, I wanted to try the Black Ash ink from Monteverde. More on that during the scribble time. Filling it up, no issues. My ink bottle is getting a little bit empty in there, so I had to tilt it in order to fill it up properly. The fountain pen had a little bit of a hard start after inking it up, but other than that it was pretty much smooth sailing. The extra fine nib seems to work as an actual extra fine nib, which I like. A little bit dry, but that could also just be the ink combination. The reverse sort of works as well, way drier than the normal side and skips a little bit, but I don't think that's really an issue since the normal side works as I was expecting it to. No light variation as you'll probably expect from such a nib, it's actually pretty stiff but pleasant to use. Definitely a little bit top heavy for writing. I like it more unposted for writing, and for drawing I do like it posted because it gives me some extra length to play with. Speaking of, let's dive into the scribble and see what we can get with it. Before going into the drawing today, I wanted to double check and see if you guys can hear me properly or if my mic setup works properly. As you probably remember, a couple of weeks back, I mentioned that I had issues with my previous microphone and stopped working properly. It was doing some weird things. And now I finally have a new setup that I think I kind of like. And hopefully sounds at least as good as the previous one. I did a little bit of an upgrade since then. If everything is done properly in theory, right about now I should be in your left ear. And now I should be in your right ear. Basically right now I have a stereo setup, which hopefully works properly. If not, let me know if you have any issues with it, and I do apologize about this. Hopefully the headphone users didn't find it too annoying. Anyway, I'll apologize for that. I won't do it again, I promise. And going back to the drawing for today, I actually had a plan. There was something, a cloud in the sky, believe it or not. and I've seen a weird shape, and that shape kind of stuck into my head, and today I decided to draw it. Well, I kind of drew it obviously based on what I remember, and I took a lot of artistic freedoms to it. But as you can see, I'm using the paper that I used last week with my Be Deep pen, because I wanted to give it another try. But the truth is, I actually did another drawing since then. Okay, so last time when I used the paper, while he had sort of the issues that he had because of the deep nib and the fact that it's not deep and it's flexed, I kind of liked what he was doing to the ink and how the ink was basically reacting to the paper. And I wanted to confirm something, so I did another drawing, and I'm quite fascinated by what's going on. It almost feels like the fountain pen on this paper, it's, how should I describe it? It's somewhere borderline between a ballpoint and a pencil. It's really weird. It's like the ink is not as flowing as on the regular paper that I use, the Fabriano paper. It feels like gel, sort of. It feels like the ink is thicker, and that is because of the paper somehow. This is the drawing that I did, and I did it with the Hero fountain pen that I previously, a couple of weeks back, reviewed or looked at. And I tried that one because I had some black ink in it and I wanted to see how black ink looks on this paper, and I like it. I tried a couple of other fountain pens, just like doing some scribble tests on a spare piece of paper, and I liked how it reacted in there too. Ink somehow on this paper, depending on the color you're using, tends to be a little bit darker, and again it has this weird pencil-like effect, or not pencil-like, ballpoint and pencil combined effect, which it's odd, and I love it because it feels like it gives me even more freedom to do drawing with. So most probably this is because of the hand-pressed cotton paper. I'm not sure if it has anything to do with the vintage effect that it has on it, or if they use something specific and that interacts with ink in a weird way. It's definitely something that I want to experiment more, so I might have to get some white paper, cold press or hand press or whatever the case is, and experiment with it. This is my first time in a couple of years where I'm pretty much branching out a little bit from the Fabriano paper. What I like about this paper, like I said, is how the ink reacts with the paper and the freedom that it gives me, and I feel like I'm loving drawing even more. And it feels like I'm not I mean, I call them scribbles, I don't know what else to call them, sketches, I don't know, but it feels like, I don't know, I'm kind of going to a different step in my life when it comes to my fountain pen drawing escapade, or whatever you want to call it, I guess. Anyway, bottom line is, I love the paper. So Pete, if you're watching this, thanks again for introducing me to this paper. And I think you guys are gonna see more of me using this. Until I guess I get sick and I find something else. I'll try and look for some white paper just to make sure it's nothing to do with the toning of the paper or whatever they're using to give it this vintage look. And I'm guessing it's just the cotton, or how the ink reacts with cotton. I don't know if all inks will work this well. I don't know if all will have this kind of a effect, but there is some exploration to do. Anyway, I think I talked enough about the paper, and quickly about the drawing. Like I said, this was inspired by something that I've seen in a cloud, and obviously I took a lot of liberties with it and came up with a very interesting character. I don't know what it is, a cloud thing or a half a moon, I don't know. It's intriguing and I like it. And I did something interesting. I was bored and I didn't know how to do the ground, and I didn't know if I wanted to let it float. So what I did, I kind of did like a needle point or something like very thin leg that it sits on, and then I used my signature as drawing the ground that it sits on, which I kind of like. Kind of looks cool. It gives some nice grassy effect. So yeah, the drawing for today, loved it. Expect hopefully more of the same from me. And yeah, it looks like I'm on a new path of exploration with this paper, and I'm gonna be trying a new ink next week. I don't know what ink, but we'll see together. As for the fountain pen, well, honestly no issues. It worked as it should have, and on this paper actually it was quite pleasant to use. I did use it post-it because it gave me more hand positions and it allowed me to be a little bit more free and more random with my lines on the paper. And again, I love how nicely it allows you to build up the shades. It's beautiful, the paper, and how ink and fountain pen interacts with it. I love it. Anyway, I think I've been babbling for a while now, so I'm not gonna keep you anymore. I'll let you enjoy the rest of the Scribble, and hopefully I will see you next week. Wish you all the best and a wonderful day or night, wherever you are. Take care. Bye.